Anyone got a pencil? Hello and welcome to the Mixtape podcast. My name's Mark and I am your host. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode. Every week on the show, I ask my guests to make up an imaginary mixtape and pick 6 tracks for it. I've had some incredible chats. They're already there in the archives, just waiting for you to stumble across them. I've had chats with Steve Kilby from The Church, Rowetta from The Happy Mondays, Rick from Ash. I've had Al Anderson, one of the original Wailers. I've had Clint Boone from Your Spiral Carpets. I've had Donita Sparks from L7. I've had Scott Kirkland from The Crystal Method. There's lots and lots of episodes sitting there waiting for you to discover. If you enjoy this week's episode, please feel free to rate it 5 stars on Spotify and or jump up to the top of the page and hit that old follow or subscribe button, and you'll be notified every time there is a new episode. Catch up with everything I'm doing by going to www.themixtapepodcast.com. That's enough for the intro. I hope you enjoy this week's episode. Hello and welcome to this week's mixtape. And this week on the mixtape, I'm joined by Devon and Ashton from Lazy Haze. How are you, fellas?
We're doing great.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on and making the time. Really appreciate it. Now, I've been playing your new single, Old Town, a little bit on the show the last few weeks. You're launching that next week at the Indian Ocean Hotel. Tell us a little bit about the single and sort of, give us a bit of a look at your songwriting process and your inspirations and stuff like that for the song.
Well, Old Town actually came to fruition just actually with my guitarist and I jamming just in the lounge room one afternoon, and basically was sort of coming up with ideas on where we're at in life, and we sort of thought about outgrowing work or friends or even the town you're born in. It's such a real thing at the moment with everyone, and so we came up with a few ideas, and the riff came along and we sort of jumped on that, and we actually wrote it in about 30 minutes, which was crazy to us. Sometimes it works like that. So
I mean this in the most complimentary way possible because I'm a massive fan. But it's got quite a big Strokes vibe for me when I heard it for the first time. Is that one of your sort of? Are you influenced by the Strokes? You into the Strokes?
Yeah, we're pretty into the Strokes. Yeah.
Big fans.
Yeah. They're on my list. I've never seen them live, so I probably missed out by now. I never got the chance, but I got their first couple on vinyl. Yeah, fantastic albums, both of them. Yeah, as soon as I heard it, I was like, Strokes, straight away. And I hate putting people in that, that pigeonhole of, they sound like the Strokes, but yeah, it just popped into my head straight away. So yeah, and like I say, I don't mean it in a negative way. So you're playing the Indian Ocean Hotel next week of your single launch. Who have you got supporting you again? I did write it down, but I can't remember what I've done with a bit of paper.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a haze fest. So we've got opening a band called Hazel, who are absolutely sick, Sonic Haze, and then a really cool band called Nectar. And then, we'll finish the show, and it's going to be an awesome night. We're super excited. We're selling our first ever batch of merch as well, which is really exciting. We just finalized the designs the other night, and super excited to drop those, Ash?
Yeah, very excited.
Yeah.
Very excited.
So will they be available on the night, or will you have them on a Bandcamp as well, or what's the story there? Where can people get hold of that?
So we'll release them after the night online, hopefully.
Assuming you got some left over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, wouldn't it be good if we didn't?
Yeah.
But we'll basically, the drop is, it's a bit of an exclusive drop. So if you buy tickets to the single launch, come by. You have the opportunity to buy some merch. You get sort of first in, best dressed.
Yeah. I was saying to my girlfriend last night, actually, it's funny because we went to see Angie McMahon last night in Perth. And I was saying to her, back in the day, when you go to see someone on tour, maybe some more towards the bigger acts, but you'd get a tour edition version of the album. Do you know what I mean? With maybe extra pictures in or live versions on and stuff like that. No one does it no more. They're just selling the same record you get off Amazon or down a record shop, on the merch stand, but for $20 more. That's it's a no-brainer for me. You got to give people something a little bit extra, a little bit special, like you're doing, with the the first in best dressed tour merch. And fingers crossed for you, you do sell out. But after that, is it available on your Bandcamp? Is that where it'll be?
We're hoping to get it up and running pretty quickly. Maybe drop a few other designs as well. We're very lucky. Our dad is our graphic designer. So we can pretty much go straight to him whenever we've got an idea, and he conjures something up for us, which is awesome. We're
That's
very lucky.
fantastic. And it's Lazy Haze Band is your Instagram. Is that the best place for people to connect with you?
Yep, Lazy Haze Band on Instagram. Also Spotify, Lazy Haze. A follow on there and maybe a like of the song is always helpful if you like the song, obviously. But yeah, Instagram's definitely the best port of call there.
So what I'll always do is obviously on the radio it's Lazy Haze Band, as we were just saying. But if you're listening on the podcast or on the YouTube channel, then just pop down in the description and there'll be a link to Lazy Haze socials and Bandcamp when it's up and running and all that other good stuff. There'll also be a link to the Spotify playlist for the mixtape tracks that the lads are going to pick right now. So obviously on the podcast, I can't include the music in the actual podcast because it's licensed content. But on the radio show, we'll be dropping the tracks in, as we go. Okay, speaking of the mixtape, track 1, lads, whenever I make up a mixtape, or even like when I kick off the radio show, I always go in with a bang, straight attention grabber, track 1. So what would you pick for your track 1 attention grabber?
Yeah, so our first one is by the Betty Rays. It's called Sober Coaster.
Yeah. And what is it about that track that you feel is like an attention grabber?
I reckon just like the start of it, the drums just like really grab you and pull you into the song. Yeah, speaking from a drummer myself, I love having a good drum track, and the Rays have done that pretty well with this song.
Yeah. So I watched the video and it put me a little bit in mind of, I know they're from up the same way, like just this, not necessarily the music, but the style of the video, like the chats, really sort of similar, sort of grainy, sort of low budget, but still awesome video. Yeah. Where they're dicking about on the beach. Yeah, fantastic track. And
very punky. Very punk rock, do it yourself. We love that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, superb. Like when it's like there's low budget and there's low budget, right? There's crap low budget and then there's like awesome low budget, and they definitely nailed that like second category there for sure with that video. Like same as the Chats did with Smoko. Like, oh, what a tune that is. That came on last year? Yeah, the year before last. I was in the UK for my birthday, and a friend of mine runs an indie club, and I went there after my birthday party for a few drinks, and Smoko came on, and I thought, oh, no one's going to know this. Mate, that dance floor was heaving. Everyone was just having it. It was the biggest mosh pit I've ever seen in the club. It was superb.
Well, we knew they were big. We knew they were big, and then we went to Foo Fighters earlier in the year, and they opened for the Foo Fighters. So we were like far out. They're grabbing attention of some massive acts around the world, and for them to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, superb. Shout out the Chats. I'd love to get them on the podcast. I keep trying. Yeah, I'll never give up. I'll just keep going till I'm just.
They're on Smoko, mate. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Leave them alone.
24/7.
Problem. Yeah. All right. And for track 2, I asked you to pick a song that you sing when you're on your own, loud and proud in the car or the shower. What do you pick for that?
So coming from New Zealand, we grew up in New Zealand for 7 years. These boys were huge. It's called Sun Comes Up by Mako Road, and they're on hiatus. They have been for a couple of years, but yeah, it's one of our favorites. It's a lot more low key, but definitely massive favorite for us. Yeah,
right. Whereabouts in New Zealand are they from?
I believe they're from like Dunedin.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
But we actually don't know. So
don't
quote us on that.
But what I'll do is I'll Google it. If it's right, I'll leave it in. If it's wrong, I'll cut it out. No worries. I won't stitch you up like that. Don't worry about that.
Oh, that's so funny.
What about yourselves? Whereabouts are you from in New Zealand?
We're from Christchurch.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I've been there once. I lived in Hamilton for a while when I was a young fella. When I was 21, I went to live in Hamilton for a while, and then a few years later, I came back and did a bit of a road trip, like from Hamilton down to Queenstown and then back up again. That was awesome. Loved that. Chucked my guts up on the Cook Straight, man. Oh, I've never been so crook. Never been so crook. It was so bad. It was really. I've never been so ill. Like it was horrible, to the point where I was looking like, and that was on the way up. So I knew we were going to come back, and I was like, I was dreading it for the whole holiday. And I'm looking at like, can we get a plane over? Like, what can we do? Like, can we do it another way where I'm not going to feel so crook? But yeah, I just toughed it out in the end. But yeah, that was a rough old crossing, mate. Wow.
Well, the plane ride wouldn't have been much more pleasant. We went to Wellington one year and absolutely got rocked by that. Like the turbulence was crazy, a bit scary as well, but you know.
Yeah. I got a ticket on that road trip as well for speeding. I got pulled over and it was one of them where it's a bit borderline. I thought I might be able to talk my way out of this. But what I didn't realise was because it was literally about a month before the 2003 Rugby World Cup. And I had an England rugby shirt on. And I was like, as soon as I realised that, I was like, there's no way out of this. No chance.
Yeah.
Not in a million years. No, I didn't even bother trying. I didn't even bother trying. I was like, nah, he ain't going to let me off this one. No way.
That's so
But
funny.
I had to copy it in the end. Anyway, all right. Track 3, I asked you to pick a cover version. What did you pick for that?
You really got me by the Gogans. Yeah.
Yeah. Kinks cover. Like a version comes up a lot on this podcast and radio show because obviously, you know, it's a never-ending source of cover version like sort of material. And I always find like a version, I'd say maybe 1 in 10 I'll go brilliant. But the rest of them are not sure about that. But that was a good one. I enjoyed that one. It was quite faithful to the original, but they'd done it quite well. So yeah, it was pretty good. I've not heard of Grogan's before that. So I might. Is that their sort of style of music? I wasn't really sure. I haven't really looked into them that much.
Yeah, they're like similar. Yeah, they're very similar, but they're very what do you call it? Like grungy sort of vibe in that. Yeah, sort of that realm.
It's a bit like indie punk.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah, right.
It's very. I think it's very Australian. I mean, like a version for us. If we ever got asked to do that, would be absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you do? What track would you do if you got asked to do it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's such a hard one because you get some like it's an important choice because that's like the beginning of if you could flop, you know. So
yeah.
Really good track. We have tossed the idea around on doing sort of like an indie version of like Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
That's our favorite with the girls.
Yeah.
And you know, if you do it well, you can almost do any song. I mean, Royal Otis did it well with Murder on the Dance Floor, and Ocean Alley have been on there like 5 times. I don't know, quite a few times. So yeah, it just depends on how you do it. If you make it your own, and
do you know Nothing But Thieves? Have you heard of them? English band.
Yeah.
They did the Gang of Youth track. That was incredible. That was one for me. I know that's better than the original. And there's not many covers I'll say that about, but that one was fantastic. And they're from my hometown in the UK, Nothing But Thieves, just up the road from where I lived before I came here. So yeah, they're fantastic. I love all their stuff. But yeah, that's my all-time favourite, like a version. That's so good. Okay, track 4. I asked you to pick a song you wished you could play to your 18-year-old self. And what did you pick for that?
Well, I chose this one actually because we're actually lucky enough to open for these guys in August the 31st. It's called All the Way Round and Back by Rum Jungle. And I don't know, I just absolutely love the track. It starts out straight away. There's no sort of getting into it. You listen to it and we're massive fans of Rum Jungle. And I think this is my favorite Rum Jungle track for sure. So if 18-year-old Devon heard it, he would probably be doing music a bit. Yeah, be frothy.
What sort of stuff were you listening to at that age?
Quite a lot. Ash, you tell them what you were listening to a couple of years ago.
I like just started getting into like the indie like rock sort of realm, like Ocean Alley and all that. But before that, it was more like Tyler the Creator, like rap.
Yeah, right.
Our parents are so good in terms of feeding us good music. Like I think when I was 18, I was listening to, like Dire Straits and Toto.
Yeah.
I think that was sort of the throwbacks were coming in massively in high school. So that was like the cool thing to listen to back in the day. So
that is a perfect segue into track 5. I'm imagining that's where this one came from, and that's a song you would put on your mixtape to let the listener know you're romantically interested. What do you pick for that?
I've picked Right Down the Line.
By Jerry Rafferty.
Jerry Rafferty. Yeah. Is that one that sort of came from your parents, or did you discover that one yourselves?
I was actually in a car with our guitarist Kerwin, which actually Kerwin apologizes for not being here today. He's got an exam tomorrow. So he's a massive, massive part of our sound and our band. So the fact he's not here, it doesn't correlate any less to his involvement in the band. He just can't make it.
Yeah.
But we were actually in an Uber together and this song came on and we'd had a few beers and we asked him to turn it up and we looked at each other and we are like, this is the best song we've ever heard. It just, I don't know, it was so nostalgic and also like, yeah, it's just, I think it's the perfect song.
100%.
Yeah. It's an absolute cracker of an album. That City to City album is an absolute, like, it's one of them that every other household in the 70s had a copy of that on vinyl. Sold millions and millions, and yeah, it's just one of them albums. Yeah, Jerry Rafferty, fantastic songwriter. I don't think he gets the sort of recognition that he deserves really for the songs he's written because he's an amazing songwriter. But yeah, I try, like, going back to, like, feeding music through to your kids. I do try. I've got 2 kids. My son's 12 soon and my daughter's 8. But it's a struggle. Like, he's easy. No bother. He likes Nirvana. He likes Akadaka.
Love it.
My daughter likes, like, as you know, she's 8, so she likes Pink and Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran, and there's anything wrong with that because I like Taylor Swift. I love Taylor Swift. I've said it so many times on this podcast. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. Ed Sheeran, not so much, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's funny out, and me and my sister grew up the same. Like, I'm not saying I'm any, I'm cooler or any better than her because I like super cool, amazing music, and she likes, Westlife. But it's fine. We're all different. But yeah,
Hey,
it might
be learn somehow. She's got to learn somehow. You're gonna go through a bit of finding your sound before you land on it.
Yeah.
So
I was lucky. I started an apprenticeship when I was 16, and the guy who I got, who was my sort of guy who was looking after me in the apprenticeship for the first 2 years, he was massive blues rock into Akadaka and Led Zeppelin and all that kind of stuff. And he asked me on the first day, he's like, "What sort of music you like?" And I was like, "Bobby Brown, Milli Vanilli." Do you know what I mean? I was giving you all this, like, and he was like, "No, don't worry, we look after you." And that was it, like, and that's why he gave me a tape the next day, and that's why this show is called the Mixtape, because he gave me that tape, and it just kicked me off into, the stratosphere in terms of what opened me up to music and what I was listening to, and started me on that journey of discovery. And for episode 99, he's going to be the guest. And
I
then
love it.
for episode 100, he's gonna do me for the episode. So I've got, like, I don't know, about 40 more episodes to go till I get there. But I'm already stressing out about what songs I'm going to pick. People sit opposite me and go, "Oh, this is so hard. It's so hard to pick." And I'll sit there going, "Come on, just spit it out." And now I've got to do it. I'm like, "Oh no, it is hard. It is really hard." Yeah.
It's stressful because there is like you can't just narrow down a list to 5. Like each question you could have like 50 songs.
Yeah. I think I'm going to give myself one pick and one, like, sort of honourable mention. So I've at least given myself like 2, because there's always, like, the Church, Steve Kilby from the Church. The Church, Aussie band. Anyway, he was episode 1, right? And the first thing he said was, like, these are the tracks that I've picked.
Yeah.
Today. Tomorrow it'd be different, be completely different song. But this is what I'm picking now. So, and it's like so I'll have like an all-time pick and then a now pick. Do you know what I mean? Like what is of this moment? So yeah, I'm going to give myself 2 choices. It's my podcast. That's it.
Your rules, mate.
Yeah.
It's your world. Living in it, mate.
All right. Finally, track 6 is something that's a little bit obscure, maybe doesn't get the kudos or recognition that you think it deserves. What did you pick for that?
We picked "Falling Apart" by Full Nelson. Yeah, very great band. They opened for, I believe, the Ryans when they came to Perth. But they're very good at just making a crowd jump, really, and the music and dance. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they've almost got like a little retro Silverchair look, Silverchair sort of sound, a little bit. You can pick sort of similarities from the two. They're also really good mates of ours as well.
Oh yeah.
So, anything our mates do, we're just 100% for it, and they're killing it at the moment. They've become sort of a main support for Old Mervs. It'd be so cool to support them one day. We love watching their shows and all that. Yeah, they're just good guys. Like
Yeah,
Good.
that's most of the Perth scene as well. Like
yeah. Do
everybody.
you know what? The amount of times that Perth bands come on and pick other Perth bands, like just to give them a shout out or just give them
Yeah,
support, it's unreal. Like almost
yeah.
always, like at least one of the pick from a Perth band is another Perth band.
Actually, your shirt, late 90s,
Yeah,
the lead singer, Steve-O, this is a little shout out to Steve-O. I bumped into him out of nowhere and I was like, you from late 90s? And he's like, yeah. And I sort of shouted out my own band.
mm,
And pretty much from that day on, this would have been 8 months ago, every update that we've done, whether it's a video or a show or photos from a show
mm,
or a new song, he's in our DMs, just,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
support. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Steve-O, those things mean so much to us, brother. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
They were great guests as well. I had them on the podcast, and I might even have wore this T-shirt when I interviewed them. Actually, I probably wore it. That's probably when I wore it last.
We'll have to
But
send
yeah,
you some merch, mate.
yeah, no, I love a bit of merch, mate. Yeah, so I'll always like, and I said like when I very first started doing this podcast, I think I put a post on one of the Perth music like forums when I started doing the radio show just for like submissions to to play because I didn't know the Perth music scene from a bar of soap when I first started doing it. And the one thing I said when I started doing it was, look, I don't want free shit. I don't want. I'm about supporting the local scene, not taking
Yeah,
away from it. Like I'll always buy a record. I'll always buy a t-shirt. Do you know what I mean? I've got a wardrobe full of t-shirts. I'm not even joking. Over
love it.
100 t-shirts.
Right.
I can't go to a gig and not buy a t-shirt. It's just just what I do. And obviously I've got a huge vinyl collection as well. So if something grabs me, now and again, the bands will say, oh, we'll put you on a guest list or whatever, and that's fine. But I don't really want to, get sent free merch, and that's not what I'm about. I'm about supporting and helping you along rather than being a drain.
Because like the industry, it's hard to make a living. I mean, I don't know any Perth bands unless they're sort of going a bit more global that aren't still
Yeah,
working their day jobs, you know?
yeah. I know.
So,
I talked to a lot of them, and I think like bands like I think the Southern River Band are probably doing it for a living now, just
yeah,
about.
yeah,
But like I saw, do you know Smallfish? They're touring Europe at the moment, but I don't imagine they're like making a living, quite yet. But they're just sort of like, what I always try and do when I pick bands to come on, like I try and get bands before they blow up. Do you know what I mean? So that I think are going to blow up. I try and get them before, so that like in 2 years' time, I can go. Like I had Lazy Haze on my podcast. How often was that? Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's what I'm after doing. So I've had like Smallfish, I've had Siobhan Cochin, I've had Ghost Care, late 90s, loads of like the Perth bands that are just like quite bubbling under, but not quite, getting there. I met Cal from Southern River Band at a gig, and I tried to get him on the podcast, but we were both really pissed, and it was St Patrick's Day in Guildford, not this one, the one before, and we were both hammered.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and I didn't quite like have it enough like about me to give him my fucking contact details and get him to come on the podcast. We had a photo and that, but yeah, that was about it. But
We
yeah, one
saw
day,
we saw Cal at because Dad took us to Eagles of Death Metal
yeah, well, okay,
at the
yeah,
Civic
yeah,
Centre, and like Cal, they like Southern River Band opened, and that this was just before we had sort of started playing more and more shows. And when I watched Cal on stage, I was like, "That's how you be a front man,"
he's
because
a proper
he
front
is
man, isn't
just
he? Yeah,
hilarious. You
yeah,
almost don't want to listen to the music because you want to hear what he has to say next.
yeah,
I think
100%,
that's a big inspiration for me
yeah,
as a front man. I think like I
yeah.
love the way he does it. Yeah,
Yeah, I can see you in the spandex leggings and that for sure, mate. Yeah, definitely.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
why
saw him. I bumped into him as well. Not really bumped into him, just like waved at him quickly. I went to the last gig at Badlands Carnival, and I saw him there as well, just like to say a quick hello to. But he was like going that way, and I was going that way, and we just said a quick hello. But and it was heaving in there. It was ridiculous that night. It was so good. But yeah, one day I'll get him on. But I thought I might have missed the boat now. They might be like a little bit too big now. Do you know what I mean? That's why I'll try and get in like early doors.
he's so down to earth. It's not funny.
Yeah, no, he is a nice bloke.
I
Yeah,
think it doesn't matter how big they get, he's still going to be the same. That's what I love about them as well.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, I don't think you have a problem, mate.
Cool. All right. Lazy Haze, thanks so much for coming on the show. Really, really appreciate your time. Good luck with the single Old Town out now. Lazy Haze Band is your Instagram. Get on the link tree there and you get all the links to the Indian Ocean Hotel launch night. Download the single, and if there is any merch left over from the launch night, you'll be able to get it from there as well. Cheers, fellas. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, mate. Have a good one.
Thank you.
And that was a Mixtape podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to jump up to the top of the page and smash that follow button, and you'll be notified every time there's a new episode. Or follow me on Instagram at the Mixtape Perth. Till the next time.